Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of RevTalks. Today we're joined with Gary over at Sonical.ai. How's it going today, Gary?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Great to be here.
Of course, I appreciate you taking some time to be here on RevTalks. Can you give us a little high-level overview about what you guys are doing and building in the software development space? We can just kind of hop into it from there.
Sure. So for the last about 30 years now, I've been developing technology to help people hear better. And what we noticed a few years back is that there was a lot of amazing technology out there, but unfortunately, it wasn't getting to the people that need it. And so we've developed a software system that basically joins those two groups of people together. So it's an operating system for your ear, and it allows third-party developers to create amazing new hearing experiences and deliver them directly to the person that needs it.
Understood. And definitely a solution that I assume you already have validated with the marketplace. Are you aware of how large the total addressable market is? So when you guys actually are servicing, do you know your actual tangible customer base of how many people you can actually speak to with this?
Well, the analysts are telling us there's around 2 billion people that are not getting hearing assistance that they need right now. Now, obviously, we can't attach into all of those right away. So we're focusing on very specific segments. The first ones are around helping people in the pro audio world who are exposed to lots of sound, and also people that struggle to hear things like watching TV or online content. And then we'll be looking at very debilitating conditions, things like tinnitus.
Understood. And so obviously right now your platform is servicing those that are in that respect. How exactly did you kind of get the introduction to sort of dive into the space, and what's kind of the main story behind that so we can get some better context too?
Right. So we were part of a consulting group that I set up, and a number of different product makers would hire us to put new technology into their devices. And that could be for hearing aids, headsets, headphones, earbuds, and so on. And what we found is the process would take a very long time, and the incremental improvement in the product was very small. And we found that quite frustrating because we knew that there was so much more potential that could be had, but it simply wasn't happening. And so we built a new platform to unlock that performance. And so that's what really got us started. It was realizing that there was so much more that could be done. You just had to start in a different place.
Understood. And as of right now, who exactly has kind of developed most of the software? Has it mainly been you, or contract-based work, or maybe in-house, or different types of connections, or how have you guys actually tangibly built this so far to date?
We only build the platform. You can think of us as it's a bit like Android for your smartphone. That's the bit that we do. And then we work with lots of other third parties who create the apps and the plugins that run on top of our stack. And so we work with loads of different experts all across the world that do very specialist applications for people's hearing. So that could be simple things like just reducing noise, but it could also be addressing somebody's sensitivity or their aversion to one particular sound. And so those experts create the interesting bit, and we glue it all together with our operating system.
Okay, nice, super cool. So you're literally kind of having an entire marketplace within that tech stack. So you're connecting you're the facilitators of connecting all these different people together, then obviously integrations too on top of the actual tech stack as well. And where are you guys actually based out of too? I know we briefly talked about it before the call, but just for the audience, where are you guys actually out of?
We're kind of all over the place. So I'm based near San Francisco, and so are a couple of our team members. We also have work being done over in Detroit, and also a lot that's happening back in the UK, where I'm originally from. And we use contractors, again, all over. I mean, there's no specific location that I would call our hub.
Nice. Obviously, being around the San Francisco area yourself personally, what is that kind of like with the culture? I know obviously there's a lot of tech companies, software companies out there in SF. The culture is very, more fast-paced and oriented towards that kind of people and those type of interests. How is kind of being around that environment? How has it kind of helped you sort of grow?
Well, I'll start with the good points. The good things are that there's very much a can-do attitude over here. And having lived here now for about 15 years, you're just surrounded by talent. I mean, there's so many smart people and lots of people that are willing to help and guide. And you get access to some of the best in every industry. And I don't think the journey that we are on, I don't think it would have happened if I was still living back in the UK. However, there are some downsides in that it's very intense. It's very difficult to kind of break away from what goes on here and take a real downtime. So yeah, there's ups and downs, but right now it's been a massive support because you're just surrounded people that are willing to contribute.
Absolutely. And what are you guys actually looking at building next or currently as of right now? What's kind of the company and how is its focus kind of shift towards building or kind of maintaining what's currently the next kind of trajectory for you guys?
Yeah. So if you take a look at how an operating system works, it needs four critical things for it to become successful. And it's no different for us than it has been for everyone else. If you think about Windows on your laptop or Android on smartphones, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you've got access to a lot of software developers. So people that can create the interesting technologies that sit on top of what you're developing. Then you need to work with all of the chip vendors and all of the peripheral component companies. So things that provide the connectivity like Bluetooth and UWB and the sensors and the memories. You need all of those pieces to come together inside a platform. And then the third piece is you need a product maker to put it inside an object that somebody can buy. And then the fourth thing, of course, is customers. You need them to buy the finished goods. And so the next stage of our journey is to take what we've already created and this large ecosystem of partners and get it into products. And we're doing that with some of the biggest audio brands, but we're also developing something that people can get access to right away, which is our own personal hearing computer. So we've actually built a prototype of that with Sony over in the UK.
Absolutely. And so right now, obviously moving forward, you guys are using those four components to actually build the operating system, have people that are currently utilizing it, pushing it out to market, and then obviously continue to make improvements and have integrations and everything like that too. As of right now, what are you guys most actively kind of seeking for those four kind of components? I assume it's not so much on the customer acquisition side, more of like how many more people we can actually bring onto the operating system in terms of like different types of partners for and growth in that sector? Or did I get that totally wrong?
No, that's the bit that was difficult to begin with, but now we are just overwhelmed by technology companies that want to be part of our platform. And, we have over 100 different tech companies that are interested in working with us. The next piece is the product makers. Most of these product makers have been building the same devices, some of them for like 50 years. So it's difficult to get them to transition to something that's completely new. But some of the early adopters have really jumped on board with us and they're very keen to get going. And so that's the next piece of the puzzle that we have to fulfill. We have to get units out there. And fortunately, because we've got manufacturing now with one of the best audio electronics companies in Sony, we are now accelerating that path as well.
Okay, nice, super cool. So now it's a matter of actually like the physical product. Can you kind of talk briefly about that in terms of like design, not necessarily just going to market with that, but getting actual people to actually build that product? What's kind of that process like for somebody who's maybe not really aware?
We like to do things very iteratively. So, the first units we built were big and bulky, and they were just about functional, but we were able to get very good end user feedback from those devices. And then we could modify those, improve them, and get to something that's a little bit more usable and a little bit more portable. And now we're going through another iteration on that cycle. So we're looking to build something that can be easily integrated with products people already own. So it will work with every wired headphone, every Bluetooth headphone. It will work with your AirPods. And at the same time, it will connect to all the different sources. It will work with your laptop, your TV, your smartphone, your tablet. And so we're looking at that space and saying, well, what kind of devices would be compatible in that ecosystem? And that's what we're building.
Absolutely. And you mentioned AirPods before, if I'm not wrong. Is this something, how exactly could AirPods be implemented with this? Just kind of for the audience as well, so they can probably better understand too.
Yeah. So if you think about how AirPods, and in fact, all of these devices work, with the AirPods, it's the number one selling ear device in the world by quite a significant margin. But you get the technology that Apple decides you can have, and you get it when they decide you can have it. And so if there's a particular enhancement or feature that you want, you've got to wait for them to put it on their roadmap, develop it, and then release a new software update. Or in most cases, you're going to have to buy some new hardware that has those capabilities. But let's say I have a hearing condition and the AirPods don't quite help me enough. Well, we're basically creating an accessory that can be paired with your AirPods and it will do the enhancement for you. And because our device is linked to an app store, as you've already mentioned, that end user can then download new enhancements into their device at any time. We don't get in the way. It's up to the developers to release the applications, and then you can download them. And so by using our Remora device, which is the brand that we're launching this under, we can now deliver enhancements to people and use the devices that they already own.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. It definitely helps me clear up some things in my head too. Are you guys currently raising funds, have raised funds? Are you guys strictly bootstrapped? What's kind of your play towards that kind of sector of the market and how you guys are sort of accelerating growth too?
Yeah, we bootstrapped at the very beginning with the consulting work that we're doing. And then we realized we had to build some prototypes. So we raised some money to do that. And with those prototypes, we got working with Sony. And now we're actually doing another round to build a lot more in production. And so that requires a lot more capital. It's part of the journey we didn't have in our original plan. We didn't expect to have to build any hardware. And now we do. And so we're raising more money to fund that process and then get more units using the Sony manufacturing team.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So building up, obviously, that currency side of it to get more, obviously, currency to get the products and rolling out. Is this something that's going to actually be in stores in terms of like the physical product, or is it just going to be mainly obviously online with connecting these different integrators on the actual operating system?
At the moment, we're using online sales, but we're also bundling our device with other people's products. So you can buy a complete package. So you might buy, a pair of studio grade headphones with our device, and you'll get that in the box. So you get all the enhancements ready to go. So that's one way. Eventually, there may be a version of our product that is in stores. So you'll be able to go and try it out and use it for the different applications. But right now it's online and then bundling with our partners.
It's super cool. And as we move through these next couple of quarters in 2026, what is kind of a main focus as we shift through the summer into the fall, and then obviously throughout winter, and we push out the end of the year? What does that kind of look like for you guys?
Everyone is focused on getting our units built. So we've had great feedback on the last version. We're implementing some changes. We've got a lot more software lined up ready for it. And so it's getting those units built. So we want them ready for the end of the year, and then take them into next year to open up some really new experiences, things that people have never been able to do with headphones or earbuds before. We'll be showing them at the beginning of 27.
Absolutely. Super cool. And where exactly on the internet can we find you? What is the company website? And then what is your LinkedIn as well?
So my LinkedIn is just my name. If you search for Gary Spittle, you'll be able to find me. There's not many of us out there. The Sonical website is sonical.ai, and the Remora website is remora.pro.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gary, for being here on RevTalks. Hope you have a great rest of your midday and afternoon as well.